Hello, hello, welcome to Tea with a Druid, number 262, live from Sussex in England, brought to you by the Bards, the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. So really lovely to be with you, and I can see people arriving from sunny Ulster and Chico, California, and Amsterdam, where I've just been. I just literally got off a train from Amsterdam. Took a train, the Eurostar, and just got back about 15 minutes ago, and it's lovely to be with you. I had actually recorded a film in case the train was delayed or I couldn't make it, and I'll show you that film next week. Some of you have actually seen it because of the technology problems, but I'm going to put it on next week, next Monday, and it's a film I made of the wonderful Druid camp that we've just been at, and some of you I'm sure will have been there too. And so hello everybody, Anki and Miriam and Paul and Veronica and Ursula and Zal and Miriam. Great to see you. Great to see you. So what a wonderful time. And it's been very hot here, I think, in the UK, and it was very hot in Holland as well. Hot and beautiful and warm and gorgeous, really. But I would like to invite you now to just check in and see how you're doing. Just think of a word. We haven't met. The last 2 weeks have been pre-recorded teas because I've been in Glastonbury and Ireland. And so there've been pre-recorded teas. So it's lovely to be live with you and to sense that we're all together at this exact moment. And also for those of you who are going to watch it on a recording to have a sense of connection with you too. So Ursula is feeling relaxed, satisfied and curious, peaceful, feeling amazed and inspired by the Dryad camp, which is where we've just come from. Blessed and fairly happy and calm, still in the afterglow of the Druid camp from Gouda, the famous cheese place. Fantastic, happy, wonderful, grateful, peaceful, kind of tired. I know that feeling. Rather tired today. Cold from Tasmania. It's cold. We'll send you some warmth from the very hot northern hemisphere at the moment. Welcome. Somebody said it's their first time here. Great to see you. Anxious, not sure why. Feeling connected and deeply peaceful. Endorse it. Exhausted, relaxed, but positive. I have a soft dog at my feet, so I'm feeling, it's gone up. I'm feeling warm and comfy. How nice. Yeah. Happy with the rain today after such dry weather. Yeah. Yes. Good. Lovely to see you. Curious for the interview, says Anki. Yes. So what I did is I interviewed Peter, who has been the driving force behind organizing camps in Holland over the last 25 years, along with many helpers and many members of the order. But he's also produced 100 editions of the Dutch Druid magazine, Dryad. So I thought, let's interview him and then have a Dryad meditation. And so that's what's been pre-recorded. And that's what's going to go up next Monday, because actually, by coincidence, I'm traveling again next Monday, so I won't be able to be live. But here's what I wanted to do today, is I wanted to introduce you to an idea that I think can be incredibly liberating. We're all familiar, and this is actually the subject of a workshop that I did at the Dryad camp a few days ago. Let me share this with you, because what I love about spiritual teachings and the work of Druidry is the way in which one idea can free us, can make some small or perhaps large change in the way we understand ourselves and the world, and can open us up or even free us. So here's this idea. We're all familiar with the concept of ancestors. We're all familiar with the concept of how our bloodline is our genetic inheritance, and that whatever influence, and that we've been influenced by our ancestors, by our mothers and fathers and grandfathers and grandparents and so on, going back along the family line. What you may not be familiar with is a concept which comes out of Celtic tradition, which we work with in Druidry, which is the concept of the milk line. Now, the milk line refers to those people who have nurtured you and nourished you, who may well not actually be blood ancestors, but they will be extremely important figures for you. And when you come to this concept of the milk line, it can be incredibly freeing. It can be incredibly helpful for those people who have difficulty with their ancestors, who had difficult relationships and problematic relationships with their parents, perhaps, or who are orphaned, who don't know who their parents are, who've lost touch with their bloodline. So the concept of the milk line, it came out of something very interesting, which is in the old days, fostering, this idea of fostering did not work in the way it does today. Today in the modern world, fostering is used as a last defense. It's when there's no other way of a child being raised by the parents. So a child is fostered out, either because the parents are abusing the child, not being responsible, or perhaps there's been some tragedy and their parents no longer are available, and so they are fostered. So it's a means of last resort to look after a child. But in the old days, way back, fostering was normal and was a way of fostering social cohesion. One of the theories about why it was used is because if you have your children being fostered by other families, there's less likely to be conflict between the families. It also makes sense genetically because it broadens the gene pool. And it also means that your child is getting a wider range of experience. And we know about this because they were recorded in the Brehon laws, which were originally pre-Christian laws that were so sophisticated that when the Christians came to Ireland, St. Patrick, he commissioned these laws to be studied and written down and so on. So we have records of these. And the wet nurse, exactly as somebody has said, the wet nurse would be somebody, and rather interestingly in Holland, when I talked about this, some people talked about their grandparents having been wet nurses. And so sometimes this still is used, but it's very rare now, and it's very much an old tradition where a mother who had surplus milk would be given a baby to suckle by her mother who was perhaps having difficulty suckling. So in that case, it's literally a milk line. But we can also use the term more broadly to include people who have nourished and nurtured us. So let's have a little meditation and open ourselves to this. And what I like very much in working with the milk line as well is if you work with the bloodline with people, you have to be very careful, because if you happen to be working with someone, say you're in a group and you're working with someone who's had a really difficult time, this can be very triggering because their bloodline may hold a lot of trauma for them. So you have to be very, very careful. With the milk line, we're talking about people who have been in your life, who have nurtured you positively, who have nourished you. So let's take a moment to honor them now and connect with them. No need to think too much about this. Let's, if you feel ready for this, otherwise just listen and maybe do the meditation later. But let's get into a meditation and explore this a little more. And to do this, you might like to become very aware of being in front of your computer now, looking at your computer screen, looking around, noticing the room you're sitting in, really opening to being present here and now in this moment. And then you might like to lower your gaze or close your eyes in order to better concentrate. And just in this act of lowering your gaze or closing your eyes, a huge amount of sensory data is is stopped from coming into your nervous system. And instead you can open out to the imaginal world, and you can sense the walls around you, the ceiling above you, and the floor beneath you just fading as you become aware of being seated in the sacred grove. This clearing in the forest, beloved of Druids, a place between worlds, a place where you can really rest and open your heart and mind. And so let's begin our work in this grove by becoming aware of the earth beneath us, all the life in this earth. We sense how this earth is teeming with life, all sorts of different creatures and microbes, bacteria, living creatures, the mycelium that connects trees with each other, the roots of the trees, the different kinds of soil, the rocks and stones and minerals, crystals, and the moisture. And as you breathe in, just breathe in some of this energy from the earth and feel it rising up into your body, into your energy field. And as you breathe out, just allow yourself to relax into your sense of being seated on the earth. Truly, this earth gives a sense of stability and groundedness. And you become aware of the roots of the trees in the earth, and you feel how these roots are drawing up the water and subtle energy, drawing this up the trunk of the trees. You become aware of all the trees around you now, and they're all engaged in this task, this alchemical task of bringing the energy from the earth, transforming it within their beings. And you sense the presence of these extraordinary beings, the trees. And then we sense them breathing out through their leaves, breathing out oxygen, breathing in carbon dioxide, breathing out oxygen. And we give thanks for the blessings, the protection, the inspiration of the trees and the spirits of the trees. And feeling blessed by the trees, we open now to an awareness of the sky, and we feel the energy of the sky. And as we breathe in the energy of the sky. And this energy flows into our beings. The energy of the sky meets the energy of the earth within the center of our beings. Now you become aware of being in the grove. And if it feels right for you, just invite one or more milk line ancestors, people who have been good to you, who've been kind to you, who have been positive influences in your life, to come into your circle. Maybe a little group of them will come, maybe one person will come. Just so you can make contact, so you can thank them. And just feel how you want to act with them. Maybe you want to hug them. Maybe you want to take their hands, hold their hands, and just feel their love and their support. And they might have a message for you. They might want to say something to you or transmit some thoughts or feelings to you. Just be open to that. Just open. And notice where you feel your connection with them. Is it a connection at the heart, the head, the mind, the heart, the head, the tummy? Where is it? And you might like to offer them something, perhaps some little gift that you conjure up in the palm of your hand, giving it to them in thanks, some thanking them, knowing that their influence perhaps is still with you, and maybe even still has potential to influence you, that you haven't fully opened to their influence, all of their influence. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's more they can give you. And then you thank them and allow them just to drift back into the woods as you become conscious, perhaps putting your hand or your hands to your heart to feel the warmth, to feel the love, to feel the connection with these ancestors of yours. A blessing on all those in our milk line, a blessing on them, thanks to them, gratitude to them, and a blessing on ourselves and on our lives. May our lives be filled with happiness, with meaning, with purpose, with beauty, with joy, with healing, with strength, with vitality. May all beings be blessed. May the land be blessed. And you might sense now others in the sacred grove too, and you realize you're not alone. And you might want to stretch out to either side to hold the hand of the person seated to your left and right, sensing that beautiful verse in Druid ritual. We swear by peace and love to sit or stand, heart to heart and hand in hand. Mark, O Spirit, and hear us now, confirming this, our sacred vow. And you feel the energy of being in the circle, holding hands together. And then you give the hand on either side a little squeeze. You feel their squeeze in return. You release the hands and drop your hands down onto the earth so you can feel the earth under your palms. And you feel your love for the earth. May this earth be blessed. And then you let your hands rest in your lap or at your heart, And gradually you allow your awareness of the sacred grove to gently fade as you become aware of being seated here, fully present, here and now. And when you feel ready, you open your eyes. So Francis has said, I have great problems with my bloodline and can't think of anyone in my milk line. I have very much found my own way. This is the way I now look to nature for my support. Thank you for saying that, Francis. And now the thing, just a suggestion there, is to open the concept of the milk line to the beyond the human, to all being. Somebody asked me at the workshop in Holland, I sense that some of my milk line is not of this world, is discarnate, is the sort of technical word for it. In other words, is a spirit being who isn't in a physical body. You know, is that part of my milk line? And I said, yes. Yes. So whatever being, whether that's an animal, a tree spirit, an angelic presence, any influence you can consider as part of your milk line. If you think of yourself, and however much we might think we have raised ourselves up by the bootstraps and nobody has helped us at all, life has helped us in some way or another for us to still be alive here and now. And so the milk line can be a very broad concept. I hope that helps. That these are just some thoughts that I have. I'm reading your comments. There's some beautiful comments. So this is something. James is saying, very powerful meditation. I had 3 milk line ancestors show up. That's nice to hear, James. What's nice is sometimes we can be surprised, and somebody who we didn't perhaps consider as part of our milk line, we realize, and it doesn't mean to say they have to be perfect. They can be people who might have irritated the hell out of us when we were kids. And, you know what I mean? It doesn't, but you know, in the greater scheme of things, they've contributed in some way to the person we've become today. And in the meditation, I said something about how even perhaps be open to the fact that their influence will work on you in the future. And the reason I said that is because one of the key figures in my milk line is my Druid teacher, Nguyen, who I met when I was 11, and he was like a friend of the family. He was a kind of an uncle figure in the family, so he was around a lot. And then I trained with him from about 16 onwards. And so he's in my milk line because he nurtured me, and he's one of my spiritual ancestors. But after he died, he died 40, 50 years ago. After he died, I have continued over the decades to discover gifts that he gave me. Once an analogy came to me of a kind of box of pearls, and every few years I would discover a new pearl in the box. Something he said to me, and I realized decades later, oh yes, there was a lot in that particular phrase or that suggestion of a book that I read, or and so on. So that's what I meant by, perhaps perhaps their influence can continue into the future. So although we're talking about them in terms of the past as ancestors, so that automatically raises the idea that their influence is behind us, but maybe it's ahead of us too. My big sister met me, and I've missed her desperately since she passed away. That's good to hear. Thank you. So this was a little meditation. This just took us 10 minutes. So this is just an introduction to this. And of course, you can spend more time. You can go into the grove in your own time and unpack this and spend time thinking about this. You can just think about it in reverie, just opening and wondering, or doing a mind map, or taking a sketchbook out and just jotting down and thinking the people, who are my teachers, who, when I was a kid, was there somebody in school who was kind of significant for me, and so on. Autumn Tempest says something about tea. I was surprised to see some of my school teachers show up and not family. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. And then Philippa had her cats and dogs too. Where the play, yes, so Zell, here, look, we've got one. Another interesting thing I found myself wondering in the early part of the meditation, whether places could be part of the milk line. Genius loci, perhaps. Yes. Thank you, Zal. You know, what a big concept this is, that what has nurtured us. It's like, so it's asking the question, what has nurtured me and made me who I am, and given me such potential. Okay. So there are lots and lots of comments. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea, and I'm going to read them. And it's been lovely being with you. And I just love these teas so much. And I was really keen to connect with you personally. And I'm sorry, at one level, I'm sorry that I'm putting up pre-recorded messages as I've done the last 2 weeks, but I'm not sorry really, because you know, it's tremendous fun to share places like Glastonbury, and I can't remember what I did last week, Ireland or somewhere, with you, and I'll be sharing the Dutch camp with you next week. So many blessings, much love, and see you again soon. Okay, bye. And do keep commenting, because they still come up, and then it's great to read. Okay, bye.